Hey guys, welcome back to Matao Outdoors. Today we're doing a tool review from Harbor Freight. This isn't sponsored. Harbor Freight hasn't sent me anything for free yet. Harbor Freight, let's give you a lot of money. I do a lot of videos for you, popular ones too. Hook me up. I could use some toolboxes and stuff. Anyway, today we are reviewing the Windsor Design high-speed steel wood lathe chisel set. I got this on clearance. I was at Harbor Freight the other day walking around and I went to get wood lathe chisels. And the reason I went to Harbor Freight for wood lathe chisels is I have recently acquired a wood lathe.
Feeling the wood cutting thing today? I don't know.
And I would like to start turning wood, bowls and spindles and all kinds of random things that you would turn wood with. I want to start turning wood. I didn't want to invest in a ton of super expensive, wood chisels off the bat. So I went to Harbor Freight to get some. Now they offer a couple different brands of wood chisels. I'll put them here and here and maybe here. So I had one. I went over to the woodworking section and I see these wood lathe chisels and yep, that's the one I want. I pick it up, put it in my basket. And I'm, of course, just can't go into Harbor Freight and get one thing. So I start walking around and looking at other stuff, and some other things got added to the cart. But I go back in the little clearance section and they've got these stacked up in the side. And I think I got this whole entire kit for 19 bucks. I have had issues with Windsor Design woodworking products in the past, mainly this piece of junk. So this is their Windsor Design number 33 bench plane, and I did a review on this video if you want to go check it out. But this is the worst thing that has ever come out of a Harbor Freight store. It is completely useless. I spent days trying to fix this thing and make it work, and eventually just gave up because I could never get the chip breaker or the cap to stay locked. It would just keep popping off, and I didn't feel like machining it, so I just gave up on it. It's now a paperweight. I'm hoping the Windsor Design lathe chisels will be better. I have had their actual bench chisels before, and I really like those, and they work out really well for me. I'm hoping this is the same steel, same type of thing. They do look like ash handles. They do give you 8 chisels in this set, and I have opened it, and spoiler alert, I've already started to modify one. So right off the rip, they do give you a wood case with this, and they give you a bunch of different chisels. Included is smooth ash wood handles with a lacquer finish. That is definitely coming off. High-speed steel stays sharp longer than carbon steel. I mean, yes, in the past with Harbor Freight chisels, you do have to sharpen them more, so heads up. In that case, you're probably gonna have to sharpen it. And go and leave the comments, feel free. But before you do, yes, I know you're gonna have to sharpen these all the time, and the edge retention is not gonna hold up yeah, I know. It's $19 chisels, man. They have brass ferrules to prevent handles from splitting under pressure. They do have them. And then a wood case, and each one is 16 and 15/16 inches long. So included, they give you a 1-inch and a 3/4 inch roughing gouge. They give you an 1/8 inch parting tool, a 1/2 inch and 1 inch skew chisel, a 1/2 inch round nose scraper, a 1/2 inch beveled scraper, and a 1/4 inch spindle gouge. I have never turned wood in my life. I have never used a lathe. I have been watching a ton of videos online on how to turn wood and how to use a lathe and stuff. And my lathe is a little different than other lathes. It works the same. It spins wood and it has a tool rest, and it's a lathe, but it's a little different. You'll find out later why. So yeah, can I speak to how great they work? No, but I can speak to what I've seen online and what to look for. And I feel like this is a good starter set, at least for me. This is what I'm gonna use to get into wood turning. Now, am I going to buy better ones in the future? Probably. But you know what? I said that about my Harbor Freight bench chisels, and I made those kind of customized to myself, which I've already done one in here as well. And I really, to this day, reach for those chisels all the time. I really enjoy them, and I have much better higher end chisels, and I tend to not use them a lot. Oh, all right. Is that Frozen? That was Frozen. Into the end. These are the chisels. This is how they come from Windsor Design / Harbor Freight. So you can see they are a little rough out the box. So heads up, I will give you warning with that. Now, does that mean they're not going to work? No, they will work. You're going to have to sharpen them though. They come about as sharp as a spoon. But from a lot of the things that I've seen, you can sharpen these with like a bench grinder and stuff. If you keep the heat real low, you can kind of reprofile and then you could sharpen from there. However, I don't think you have to have these as sharp as like a bench chisel would, where you're just paring end grain perfectly smooth and stuff. Do you need them sharp? Yes. Do you need them, surgical sharp? I don't think so. I could be wrong, but from what I've seen, a lot of people just use like a sander, like a belt sander, and just, sharpen up their chisels, and they're right back to turning wood. So, but these are the handles. They do give you ash wood handles, and they are covered in lacquer. They're not terrible. They're not super shiny by any means. But I hate lacquered wood handles on any of my tools. So it's the first thing that gets stripped off. Up here, they do give you the brass ferrule that kind of holds everything in place and avoids the wood from splitting, because you are tending to hold this. Now, with chisels for lathe turning, you tend to hold the metal on one side. You keep your hand up kind of closer to the wood, or closer to the blade, not too close, but far enough back. And then your back hand is usually on the back here, and that's for controlling the actual chisel and moving it around. The actual wood spinning on the lathe is what's providing the cutting power. This is just, you're just moving this and keeping it under control so it doesn't go wild on you. I did sharpen this one a little bit already, if you can see that, just on a grinding wheel, and I kept it, the heat down and nothing glued or anything, and it does actually have a nice cutting edge on it now. But the edges are they're just straight off a mill, right? They rip these through a mill pretty quick, so they're a little harsh in the hands. You can solve that by just taking a file and just filing down the edges a little bit, or even a little 220 sandpaper, and just kind of sanding around, a little bit, and it smooths it up really nice. Give you this roughing gouge here, as well as this one as well. So these are your two roughing gouges. So this one here is a little 1/4 inch spindle gouge. So then they give you a parting tool as well. So this is to cut grooves and basically split pieces off as you're milling something, or you're turning something. You want to cut a piece off. This goes in and just keeps cutting down until eventually it comes free. Then we have a 1/2 inch round nose scraper. And we have the beveled scraper as well. So right there. And then they give you 2 skew chisels. Now, like I said, these were on clearance at Harbor Freight. And if you've noticed on some of these, like this one right here, you can tell right here, there's a little bit of rust on these. So these have been sitting for quite a while. They did come with the little, moisture packet thing, but you can see right here on this one right here, there's a little spot of rust. It's just surface rust. I can literally almost scratch it off with my fingernail. But, if you do end up getting these, you're gonna have to put a little bit of work into them to get them serviceable. Usually I'll just strip off the lacquer and throw some linseed oil on them, and sometimes I'll polish up the blades a little bit and go to town with it. This one I did a little bit different. So this is my skew chisel. What I did was I polished the blade all the way around, put it on the buffing wheel. I sanded it down to 220 grit with sandpaper, and then put it on a buffing wheel and polished it. Now there's still scratches in it and stuff, but that's fine with me. So, and then put it on the diamond stones, and I sharpened the hell out of the edge of this thing. So it is razor sharp now. Doesn't need to be. I don't think so, but it is now. So she's super sharp. Then I went ahead and polished the brass ferrule on that. So that's all polished up and shining real nice. I stripped off all the lacquer off the handle and just put some, like, this is like Minwax Early American stain on it, and then polished it with some beeswax, and it now has a really good grippy feel to it, but it gave it a little bit of color, which I think is kind of cool. And then I've got some rough rawhide leather and wrapped the bottom where your hand is going to be, and that gives me really good grip. And basically wrapped it and super glued all the way around, so this is not coming off anywhere. And then just went through and I just used a black marker to kind of give it a little bordering and edging there, you know, not bad. So this is what I'm going to eventually do to all of these. Now, I'll kind of do it as I go kind of thing. I'm not going to sit and probably redo this whole set because I need to get into woodworking, or not woodworking. I need to get into lathe turning first and figure out what I'm doing before I go too nuts on these things. But this is going to be the outcome of this kit. So this is what you can turn it into. And then finally, they give you this box. It's got some green felt line. It's a very cheap, just, you know, butt jointed box with a hinge, but it gives you somewhere to store them. And it does have a little inset to kind of hold the blades up on one side and make them all kind of level so they don't roll around. So not bad. Overall, I don't mind the Harbor Freight or Windsor Design lathe woodworking tool turning. What is this thing called? The high-speed steel wood lathe chisel set from Windsor Design is not bad. I feel this is a great entry-level tool set into lathe woodworking and wood turning. So not bad. They give you a little closure on the end here. It's a box. It's not bad. It's better than them having, you know, laying them around and getting more moisture, dust, and stuff on them. So I do like to keep my tools in little boxes like this. So if you want to see a video of me using these for the first time on the lathe, subscribe down below because that video is coming out shortly. So you don't want to miss that. Subscribe. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not. And if you are subscribed, make sure you've clicked the bell so that you get notifications when I do push stuff out, because a lot of people say, hey man, I subscribed, but I totally don't see your videos. It's because you didn't click the bell thing. You got to click the bell and click all so that every time I push a video out, you're notified of it. And give me a thumbs up on this video as well. That really helps the algorithm. It doesn't cost you anything to do that, and it really helps out the channel. I really appreciate all of the new members that we've gotten lately. The channel has been blowing up. So if you're here for woodworking stuff, if you're here for motorcycle content, if you're here for camping and kind of bushcrafty type things, we do all kinds of stuff here. Gear reviews, just tons of stuff on this channel. I know I'm not the typical YouTube channel where you're supposed to stick to one niche, but you know, I'm ADD, so I bounce around to all different types of things. It keeps me happy. Do all the things, and I will see you on the next one.